This is Cece. Welcome to The Orbit. It is Tuesday, January 30th. It's a big day of earnings. This is a big earnings week. We'll get to that in a second. First, let's go to the markets. We've got S&P futures down a little bit into the open. We're looking at SPY down about 0.2%, not much. Yesterday, we were up almost 1%, about 0.75% to the upside. And it all happened, a lot of it happened late in the day. We were sort of hanging higher in the green all day. Trying to break through 4,900 on the SPX. Attempted a couple times and then finally broke through, probably triggered some stops on the upside of some of the people with positioning and ripped higher. And then that's where we ended up on the day. So much more than what options were pricing yesterday. And that was to the upside. Expected move is about 0.5%. So vol is picking up a little bit. These earnings events that we have pretty much every morning and afternoon, some of these are some big mega cap names that can really kind of move the market. The second factor we've got here is we've got the FOMC meeting tomorrow, and that you can actually see here. We've got about 18 vol for tomorrow, 17 vol Thursday, and 17 vol into Friday, and then look, it just drops next week back to 13. So vol is picking up this week. Whether that carries over into next week remains to be seen. But you get these kind of breakout moves to the upside. That is one way that you get IV up. The VIX bottomed at about 12.5 last Wednesday. The S&P is up basically almost 2% since then, and the VIX is up about 10% from those lows. So that just shows you get a little bit of movement. You get some of these earnings events. You get an FOMC meeting, that is enough to tick vol up off the floor, although we are still historically low. So let's check in on Qs. We've got a couple of big earnings reports after the bell, led by AMD, Microsoft, and Alphabet. So when we're looking at the 0 DTE move in the Qs, we've got about 0.7%. And that is obviously, these are large components of the Qs. That is looking to try to take out these highs from a couple of days ago, and that is around, call it 430. Let's check out the expected moves of the companies that are reporting. Let's start with AMD. 8.6% expected move. That compares to prior earnings moves. So we had a move higher 10%, lower 7%, lower 9%, higher by 13%, let's call it. Let's look at Microsoft. Got about a 4.2% expected move. And how does that compare? We've got, it's sort of right in the range. It's had a 7% move in the last three. The others were 3 and 4%, up, down, up. It's kind of all over the place as far as direction. But I mean, look at this chart. You back this up a little bit. Look at this ripping into earnings. I mean, it's ripping over the last year. And then lastly, let's go into Alphabet. We've got about a 5% expected move. You can see where that is on the chart. Pretty similar looking chart to Microsoft, not as steep hockey stick as Microsoft. And then that 5% expected move, that compares to, it's been all over the place. So Google was down 10%, was up 6%, was unchanged, was down 3%. So there's been volatility within the volatility of its earnings moves.